Jackie Schlegel, Texans for Vaccine Choice, comes speak to us tonight. She was added just a couple of nights ago, so it's a surprise for almost everyone here because we did not email this out, but we're glad to have her here.
Surprise!
And so thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me. All right. So, anybody a fan of Julie McCarty's True Texas Project? Okay, she's pretty amazing, right? So this presentation was actually written for my presentation the last 2 nights. They are hardcore. They will kick you off of stage if you are a second past your time limit. So I did something I never do, and I wrote out a presentation. But it actually worked out really well because then I was asked to be here and they say you have 10 minutes and I was like, perfect! I have a presentation. But it is going to go fast, so bear with me. Okay? Do we have a PowerPoint? Almost. We're not there yet. Back up a little bit. All right. My name is Jackie Schlegel. I am the Executive Director of Texans for Vaccine Choice. And can I first just welcome you and say there has never been a better time to be an anti-vaxxer. Haha, that's where you laugh. Because the truth is that I'm not an anti-vaxxer, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, but all joking aside, few people have benefited dramatically from COVID, and ironically, my organization has. See, the massive issues we've been screaming about the last 5 years are now being played out for the world to see. Despite our name, Texans for Vaccine Choice, the radical progressives and their big industry cronies have long used the term anti-vaxxer to assassinate our character, censor our message, and promote retaliation against our families, an attempt to erode our reputation in our communities. It has been an incredibly effective campaign until now, until COVID put it on full public display for the world to see. I have long said that vaccines are the tip of the iceberg. There is no more significant threat to your life, liberty, and freedom than the run-amok pharmaceutical industry that seeks to own your body, mind, and soul. I do not take this David and Goliath story lightly, nor should you. This Mom Power grassroots organization is on the front lines of this war against this billion-dollar industry. And we will win. So grab your phones, use the code, and follow along as we navigate the solution together. Or, I think we have a PowerPoint. Pretty spiffy, huh? All right. In 1986, vaccine manufacturers were in trouble. Hot lots of the pertussis vaccine were costing pharmaceutical companies millions of dollars in compensation for killing and injuring children. And what could now be named the cause of one of the worst health epidemics in modern history, President Ronald Reagan reluctantly signed into law the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, which shielded vaccine manufacturers from liability. Did you get that? Shielded manufacturers from vaccine liability. While intentions and details surrounding the bill's passing remain debatable, what we now know for sure is the incredible impact that bill's passing has had. Here you can see in 1983 there were 24 doses on that vaccine schedule. In 1986 the act was passed. Today, we have 74 doses before the age of 18, a robust recommended adult vaccine schedule, and over 300 vaccines in the making. This is no longer about polio. This is an industry dream come true. Unlimited potential, zero liability, and a government willing and ready to mandate their products. And mandate they did. In 2015, the industry successfully maneuvered a power play to remove vaccine exemptions for school-aged children in California. Numerous states followed suit with similar legislation, including Texas, which led to our organization's creation. We quickly morphed into one of the largest grassroots organizations in the state of Texas. With over 40,000 members and a unique one-of-a-kind model, the last 5 years, Texans for Vaccine Choice has successfully fought off over 30 industry-sponsored bills and led the nation in setting the gold standard for vaccine choice advocacy. While TFVC was initially formed by those, including myself, who have a vaccine-injured child, our diverse membership now includes unvaccinated families, homeschoolers, professionals, teachers, doctors, and even those who oppose the use of vaccines for moral and religious objections, including the use of fetal cells in vaccines. Yes, I said fetal cells. Human babies harvested for the industry for medical research and humanitarian vaccine development. While many researchers prefer a hands-off, blind-eye approach to the babies they purchase, in this deposition, we get an inside look from Dr. Stanley Plotkin, who is known as a godfather of vaccines. Listen closely to his words from this deposition. Question: in your work related to vaccines, how many fetuses have been a part of that work? 76. And these fetuses were all 3 months or older, correct? Yes, he says. And these pieces were cut up into little pieces, right? Yes. It included the lung of the fetus. Yes. Kidney. Yes. Heart. Yes. So I just want to make sure I understand. In your entire career, this was just one study. How many fetuses have you worked with approximately? I don't remember the exact number, quite a few. They ask, do you have any sense? I mean, this one study alone had 76. How many other studies have you used aborted fetuses for? I don't remember. Okay. Have you ever used orphans to study an experimental vaccine? Yes. Have you ever used the mentally handicapped to study an experimental vaccine? I wouldn't deny that I've done so. Do you believe that someone can have a valid religious objection to refusing a vaccine? No. Do you take issue with religious beliefs? Yes. You have said, quote, vaccination is always under attack by religious zealots who believe the will of God includes death and disease. Yes. Do you stand by that statement? I absolutely do. Are you an atheist? Yes. As you might suspect, the abortion industry is just one of the many who benefit from the revolving door between for-profit mega corporations and regulatory agencies. Thanks to coronavirus, many are now aware that these agencies we trust to shield us from corrupt industry practices are not all the beacons of morals and ethics that we once believed them to be. From the World Health Organization to the Centers for Disease Control, conflicts of interest, fraudulent practices, and mismanagements of their agencies have been on full display for all to see. But for those of us in the vaccine choice world, this is old news. We've been watching these government agencies become increasingly captive to the industries they have been charged with regulating over the past 20 years. FDA commissioners and CDC directors leaving their posts for cushy, high-paying jobs at large pharmaceutical corporations and vice versa are not uncommon. The pharmaceutical industry spends more money on lobbying than any other industry, $300 million in 2019. They spend nearly $30 billion on marketing. The news and the TV programs sponsored by these advertising dollars are prohibited from airing stories that might stain the public's impression of a company or its products. They own the agencies, they own our legislators, and they own the media, and they are responsible for the divisive propaganda pitting neighbor against neighbor. What an interesting position these convicted criminals find themselves in. As a friend of mine likes to say, these are companies found guilty in the court of law for falsifying data and other illegal and unethical practices that have resulted in the deaths of thousands. Are we to believe they have suddenly found Jesus when it comes to making vaccines? The medical mandate mob would have you to believe science is God and vaccines are Savior. No matter how many safe and effective treatments we might have for COVID-19, they are hell-bent on your life being miserable until their vaccine can be developed, fast-tracked, and mandated for our greater good. But in a wild turn of events, President Trump's Operation Warp Speed has completely flipped the playbook upside down by promising a vaccine and forcing the Democrats to oppose their own science narrative. In recent press conferences, he has been abundantly clear the vaccine will be available as one option for those who want it. While I have full confidence in President Trump's strategy, and I applaud his position to allow states to govern their response, it's sneaky King Abbott that should have us all alarmed. Right now, it's no mask, no entry. If Abbott has his way, it's gonna be no vaccine, no entry. Abbott has repeatedly participated in one of the worst manipulations of facts to advance his political agenda. An agenda right out of the big pharma playbook. And speaking of the playbook, this is Mike Toomey. He is known as one of the most powerful lobbyists in Austin, most notably lobbying for the pharmaceutical giant Merck. He has held various political positions in and out of the legislature, but having served as Rick Perry's chief of staff, he is credited as the catalyst behind the disastrous attempt to mandate the Merck HPV vaccine via Governor Perry's executive order in the early 2000s. What is Toomey up to today? He currently serves as the chief of staff for Abbott's coronavirus strike force. Writing on the wall yet? Thanks to this media hype pandemic, questionable and continuously changing data, a governor who has chosen to base his executive orders on flawed statistics, and advisors who have deep financial incentives, we find ourselves with the genuine threat of being forced to take a fast-tracked, poorly tested vaccine to be granted the luxury of resuming normal life. We have been told that vulnerable populations will be the first in line to receive the vaccine. A population not included in the vaccine safety trials. While outrageous enough, me and you might be able to skirt around this mandate, but these at-risk individuals will be denied vital care services if they do not accept this brand new untested vaccine. This means grandma won't be able to stay in the nursing home, and our medically fragile children will be denied their therapies, services, or visitations with their loved ones. It's already playing out. I'm the parent of a 19-year-old with profound disabilities, and my heart breaks every single day when parents call me because their kids have been locked up in state living centers for 7 months. Their kids think they abandoned them. It's disgusting. Breaks my heart. We're already seeing it play out. I poked fun at being an anti-vaxxer, and I close this saying now that you're an anti-vaxxer too, but the truth is, if you want this vaccine, you get this vaccine. If you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask, but you ought to be on the front lines of fighting for your rights to choose, because once you hand over that right, you cannot get it back. It's going to take years to undo the damage that we've done through this virus. if you agree with me, I hope you will go and click and sign our petition against Governor Abbott's upcoming vaccine mandate. If you have the ability to donate, there's a lot of great organizations here, but every dollar counts for us. We are a small nonprofit on the front lines. I launched this organization 4 years ago from nothing, just a passion out of my heart. We need lots of volunteers as well. So if you have a time or talent, we would love to have you on our team. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here tonight. I'm allowed to take 2 questions.
Why do you think that there's field, I'm not going to say field, but maybe parks inside these vaccines?
Because they can. I was speaking at a True Texas project last night. The question is, why are there human cells in vaccines? And I'm not going to give you a scientific answer. I'm going to give you my mom answer that says that we allow it to take place. I was talking to a life activist last night who said, well, we are really hoping the final vaccine that comes on the market doesn't include fetal cells. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, so the 76 babies that were used for research leading up, as long as they don't make it in the final product, somehow it's ethical? No way. That's why they continue to do the research using the fetal cells, because they can. We're funding the industry and they can. It's like something out of a bizarre sci-fi movie. One more question? I don't know if the fact I left you speechless is good or bad, but I will close on that and say thank you.